Are we audible? Can anyone of you respond? No. Can anyone respond?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rohit.
Please check if Mr. Shibu has joined.
I need to.
Please check if Mr. Shibu has joined.
Gautam will join in another 15 minutes.
I think we will start.
Yeah, we'll start.
Yeah, so we'll start. A very good afternoon to all the online and offline participants for today. We have stepped into the United Nations Decade for Ecosystem Restoration. This is a global cry to heal our planet. Degradation of our world's ecosystems is affecting us humans, the lives dependent on these ecosystems. It's pushing diverse species to extinction and affecting the very fiber of Mother Nature. There is an urgent call to our generations to grow trees, clean our cities, rewild our gardens, clean our rivers and seas. We cannot turn our backs now. Today's World Environment Day observation is a small step by our institution towards building better ecosystems for our planet and future generations. With this, I would kindly request all of you to stand for the Ramya anthem.
सकलान्तर्यामी हरिणी चाल भजिन्तुम्
भूषण
वीरामय्य समूह संस्थाना
ज्ञान विज्ञान विद्या विनय भूषण वीरामय्य समूह संस्थान तारे निहार के आगने ईमान के जय वेन्नुव ई संस्थान के द्रष्टाररु कट्टिद कनसिन साम्राज्यविदु
दीपदुळु प्रदीपಗಳ ಬೆಳಗುವ ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾ ಸ್ಥಾನವಿದು
ಅರಿವಿನ ನಿರಂತರಾಚನೆ ದಿವ್ಯುಗ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲವಿದು ಗೃಹ ಗೃಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಗೃಹ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣವೇ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನದ ಸೋಪಾನವಿದು ಮಿತಿಯಿಲ್ಲದ ಅಮಿತ ಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವಿದು ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಯ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡಲು ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿಯ ಕೇಂದ್ರವಿದು ಅಜ್ಞಾನದ ಕತ್ತಲೆ ನೀಗುವ ಸುಜ್ಞಾನದ ಸೂರ್ಯನ ರಶ್ಮಿದು
ಜಗದೋದ್ಧಾರದ ಹೊಂಗನಸಲು ಹೊತ್ತಿದ ಅರಿವಿನ ತಾಣವಿದು
ಅರಿವಿನ ಹಣತೆಯು ಬೆಳಕನ್ನು ಚೆಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಸಂಖ್ಯಾತ ಕಿರಣಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲೆಡೆ ಹೊರಹೊಮ್ಮಿವೆ ಜಯವೆನ್ನುವ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ
I will request everyone to be seated. The world belongs to us all, and it is our duty to Mother Nature to protect our earth. And today, as we pledge to nurture our earth, let us symbolize this event by watering a plant. Can I kindly request the dignitaries to water the plant as a symbolization of nurturing our planet? Our Eco Club president can go. He's not, sir. Thank you, sirs and madams. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Nandakumar to welcome the gathering and to give a brief overview on the World Environment Day.
Thank you, Dr. Priya. Very good afternoon to everyone. And it's indeed an honor, especially after the intense COVID second wave that we have seen, and all of us have gone through both professional and personal challenges during this time. So it is indeed with great pleasure I take this opportunity to welcome the August gathering and the seniors who have been here both in person and people on the web online who have joined us. So this conflict between humans and nature has been there since time immemorial. So the issue was somebody loud. So the issue was brought to the forefront with the documentary by Al Gore, An Inconvenient Truth, which showed like how the human activities and the harm that we are causing to the environment. And since then, there have been very active movements towards improving and sustaining the environment for the years to come. So the UN has rightly made this decade as the Environment Restoration, and 5th of June, which is being celebrated as the World Environment Day, has brought into the focus or refocus all efforts and activities towards making this environment safe and sustainable for future generations. So in this quest for our activities towards the environment, Ramaya group of institutions has been always at the forefront, showing and demonstrating in practice and in principle the support for environmental restorations. So I deem it my honor to welcome to the event the Chief Executive Sir, who was very supportive when we went and met him and spoke to him about this activity, Srinivas Murthy Sir, the CFO and the head HR, we welcome them in their absentia. They have assured that they will be joining online. And at the medical college, Meda ma'am has always been a pillar of strength and support for all our activities in the Department of Community Medicine. Welcome you, ma'am. And we have Shalini Nui ma'am, our Vice Principal Academics, Harish sir, and the Registrar Academics, Dr. Pratap sir, and Registrar Administration, Dr. Hemant sir. The team and the family of Community Medicine, Dr. Ravita ma'am, and our team, all the senior people who are online, and our guest for today, senior person, Dr. A.N. Yellappa Reddy sir, who has been leading the movement towards environment in Karnataka for over last 4 decades. We welcome you, sir. We have Dr. Raghottam Rao, who is a retired professor from Acharya Patishala. Sir has also joined. And we have Shibu KN from GAIA, Asia Pacific. And Dr. Vishal Mehta, who has been kind enough to send a message from Stockholm Environment Institute, USA. All the faculty, colleagues, students, postgraduates, and others who have logged in for this particular event, we extend a very warm welcome to all of you. And also from the media and corporate communications, we have Anant and the rest of the team who are supporting us. A very warm welcome to all of them. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. So with that, we would like to now move into what our institution has been involved in terms of supporting the environment. So at first, we have a highlights of a community survey that was done by our institution on safe mask disposal during COVID. So the highlights of the study will be presented by Dr. Pavitra, Assistant Professor in Community Medicine.
Good afternoon, everyone. Last year in 2020, due to the unfortunate reasons, that is pandemic lockdown due to the pandemic, we were not able to celebrate the World Environment Day as we do every year. But being public health experts, we took this as an opportunity to educate our community regarding the safe usage, the proper usage, maintenance, and the safe disposal of the mask. As we are all are aware of, since this pandemic has started, the new norm has been set up, that is mask masking, which is one of the strategies to prevent the transmission of COVID-19. Improper usage of masks, proper maintenance, and improper disposal does not have effect only on the environment, but also on the human being. Because of improper usage or the improper maintenance, we tend to get many other respiratory illnesses. With this background, a community-based survey was conducted in order to assess the knowledge of people, how to use the mask, how are they maintaining the mask, and how are they disposing the mask. The study was conducted in both the urban and rural areas. It is in urban area at BK Nagar and Netaji Circle, UPHC area. And Kagara and Avati was selected for the rural areas, that is a free practice area. A total of around 5,000 adults were included in this study, in the survey. This figure shows that majority of the people, both in the urban area and the rural areas, were using masks. The most common reason for them to use a mask, as stated by the participants, were to protect themselves. And only a minority of people told that they were wearing the mask because it was mandated by the government. Among those individuals who were not using the mask, the most common reason quoted was they were not going out, that's why they were not using the mask. These figures shows that majority of the population, both in the urban area and the rural areas, were using the reusable cloth mask. Figure shows that both in the urban and rural areas, people were sharing the either it may be cloth mask or the disposable mask. Those were shared by the individuals more commonly in the rural areas than compared to the urban area. Among those individuals who were using only the disposable, either surgical mask or N95 mask, a majority of them were washing the mask and reusing it. And among those individuals who were using the disposable face mask, they were disposing it off along with the household waste, that is 97% did not know the right technique of disposing the mask, and only 3% used to dispose it off separately. So we took an opportunity to educate the community regarding the safe disposal and the maintenance of face masks. We imparted the health education by using the pamphlet which was prepared in a pictorial representation where the proper use, what kind of mask should be worn by which individual and how to maintain the mask and safe disposal was taught to the community. Even though now we have progressed towards like wearing the face mask, but we still need to follow the other COVID appropriate behavior like maintaining social distancing and hand washing in order to protect ourselves and our near and dear ones against this COVID-19. Even though people are aware of using the face mask, still the proper usage and maintenance has to be imparted into the community. We are planning a follow-up study to reassess the impact of the health education, what we have imparted during the first lockdown. So similar study we are planning to conduct in order to see the behavior of face mask usage among the people during the second lockdown, and also what are the behavior of people after taking the COVID vaccination, whether they are still following the technique of proper technique of wearing the face mask and the disposal, and how much percentage, whether it has increased or decreased of face mask usage by the community.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pavitra. I think, especially now in view of this World Environment Day, we have to remember that the proper disposal of these disposable masks is very, very important. Otherwise, that will add to our ecosystem disruption as well. This year, our institution has been more active in initiating the our own Eco Club. So to introduce the Ramaya Eco Club, I would kindly request Dr. Babita to talk to us about what is this Ramaya Eco Club, and kindly talk to us about this initiative, please.
Thank you, Jayalakshmi. Thank you, Jayalakshmi. Good afternoon to all present here and online. It's my pleasure to share how this Ramaya, which we call it Eco Club, has formed. So I would like to share with you all a small journey of ours, how we ended up, or inception of our Eco Club. I'll just take you all through it. I'm sure some of you have seen it, but I'm sure many of others who are online would have come across this. So during 2015, I can say even before that, we had practice during Environment Day, plant saplings, and many other activities during Environment Day. So these were even more, what do you say, noted down from 2015 that we had a cycle rally just to encourage and create awareness among the younger generation, just sustain our environment. We had saplings. We planted all around our buildings with the current new building. Eventually, in 2017, we had policy being released, which is amended and rectified by many of the senior professors. Even during 2017, we had planted some of these saplings. Today, what we see in our parking lot is those fruits. And then we started the culture of giving our guests a plant. Rather than giving something very materialistic, we just gave some plant and a paper bag based material to the guests. Slowly we started shifting from lighting to lamp to watering of plants. So today also we all observe that. Then our department started phasing out a lot of paper and plastic materials, and now we are starting using ceramic cups, plastic water bottles to the ones in Milton Plaza or promoting any company. So this is what we have turned into our department into. You can see the blocks is a very empty departments, right? Except for our community medicine. So the other departments started feeling like we also need plants. That year, every department received plants and we placed them in their department. They are taking care of those and with definite monitoring under the supervision of Dr. Medara. So the next was, yes, we found, you can see the plant. These are the plants which are there in the garden also being taken care by our gardeners. And then we have some of the awareness program in Avati PHC. So we continue doing awareness program in all of our pre-practice area. Like my friend Pavitra has presented the behavior of face mask usage. We had surveyed also during the lockdown period. That's also part of our Environment Day activity. Let's see our beautiful garden which is there. And then definitely you can feel the mental stress can come down just by seeing the garden. And the men behind these. Mr. Venkat Reddy and Mr. Ravindra have been working really hard to make our garden so beautiful. Yes, I can mention earlier. Megamam has been the key for this. Every single leaf is being taken care by her. Welcome to our Ramaya Medical College Eco Club. This is how we started this Eco Club. It's a student faculty driven Eco Club, which started in 2019. Not much activity like would have started from the Eco Club, but this was the vision for it. And the main aim is to students to become environmentally conscious. We all are students. I just say designated here. Myself, faculty, anybody, you're all students when it comes to environment. An objective behind was just to create awareness, both acquiring and disseminating, and bring about a sense of accountability, bring about a positive attitude toward the environment, and strengthen the institutional environment. Who are the parts? The members of this club, students, faculty, and volunteers. Lead Eco Club Committee, our President Dr. Shani Kanuri, Vice President Dr. Gurudev, Chief Secretary Dr. Vinay Martin, Administrator Dr. Babita Rajan, Treasurer Dr. Priyadarshini, our Student President Dr. Vishnu Prasad, Student Vice President Karthik Yadavali, and many student members have joined this club and many more to come. I just repeat here, anyone can join this club if you're really motivated to sustain our environment. Looking up to the activity of this Eco Club, I would like to ask Dr. Vishnu Prasad to share those activities.
Good afternoon to all, and it is truly an honor to be given this platform to speak about the environmental action plan proposed by Expo Club for this year 2021. So before I go into those activities, the way we had devised these activities is as a group, we had all brainstormed what we can do as students for our campus to not only reduce our carbon footprint, but also to make our campus more ecologically friendly. After we had come up with these ideas, we had taken a vote and we had chosen six of the most popular, six of the most best ideas which we could come up with so that we can practice these for the next 7 months for this year. The first of these ideas was footpath waste segregation bins. As we all know, Ramaya has waste bins throughout campus and throughout the eateries as well. But none of these are segregated. The importance of having segregated bins is organic waste, when it enters a landfill, it produces methane gas, which is a potent greenhouse gas. This can contribute to global warming. As well, when we do not segregate waste, waste which would otherwise be recycled is going into a general landfill. So waste segregation, especially on the footpath along the eateries, we allow for more organic waste to be composted and for recyclable material to be recycled. The next setup was to have e-waste bins throughout campus and especially the hostels. The thing with e-waste is that it's known to contain a lot of heavy metals, which then leak into the soil, which cause soil degradation and later damage water bodies. So by placing of e-waste, especially throughout hostels and throughout campus, students now have a safe way to dispose of their old batteries, cables, and other types of electronic waste without having to damage the environment. We thought we could partner with NGOs for the pickup of this e-waste, and it would be something for students to realize. Being Ramayans, we're very proud that our campus is very green. Wherever you look, there is not a tree which should not be inside. But we still want to do a survey throughout campus, see where else we can increase the green cover. One area which we noticed in particular was hostels. Hostel corridors do not actually have much greenery. We thought by placing plants there, it would not only increase the greenery, but also inculcate a habit among students of caring for nature, of taking care of plants, start right from the hostel area itself. Here we have something we like to call the paperless initiative. As we all know, once a student enters college, all transactions, all challans, all letters, everything is paper, with paper. But we notice that paperless is the new way forward. It's the green way. So when we grow out of college, where else do we use paper? And is it possible we can replace those paper usages with electronic methods? If it is not possible to replace that usage of paper in that instance, why don't we use recycled paper? The manufacturing of recycled paper has been shown to generate 38% less carbon dioxide as compared to the manufacturing of paper from virgin tree fibers. This ecological social media presence. The social media is a great tool which we can harness as students. And this tool reaches people of all ages, of all backgrounds as well. Social media presence, we can bring recognition to certain ecological activities or certain ecological agendas right now, which the public needs to be aware of, as well as we can broadcast what our club is doing around our campus. And this can inspire other students from different campuses, and it can inspire the public as well to make a change in their own daily living. Lastly, one topic which we were all really passionate about was solar panels. And this one we wanted to first assess the feasibility of having solar panels within our campus. Actually, we did some preliminary calculations and we realized our medical college alone has the power to generate 14,000 lakh kilowatt hours of renewable energy from solar panels alone. So we wanted to assess the feasibility of this to see how much will it save in terms of money and in terms of carbon footprint, how much will it be for our campus. The main ideas which were proposed for this next 7 months. But along with these, we had another few ideas which we thought we would implement based on time and resource as well. One of these is having an online portal as part of our Ramaya website, where faculty and staff can register for carpooling. They just have to enter their start and their end destination, and they can be matched with other people. Another thing we had was patient programs. More patients are unaware of how to dispose of old medications and if they're diabetic, like insulin needles. So maybe we can have patient drives to encourage them to bring their e-waste or bring their medical waste to Ramaya and dispose of it here in a safe manner. Based on the book Barefoot Plogging. Plogging is a trending now technique which combines fitness with ecological conservation. And then you never see that squad. as we know, throughout campus and throughout hospitals as well, we do have a few taps which are always leaking. We complain about them and we give a recommendation to the plumbing department. Some of them are fixed, some of them are unnoticed. So having a squad which goes to room by room, to building by building, to assess which taps are leaking. One tap alone, if it's left leaking, can lead to a loss of almost 11,000 liters per year. So having this would be a great saving. We also want to have an environmental fest, faculty and students. This will include seminars and environmental activities. So we can all be passionate about the environment as well. And lastly, we wanted to allocate an environmental quota for each year of MBBS students, which means as soon as they join MBBS, their year is going to be allocated a certain part of the campus. And then they have to develop that part environmentally. And based on that, they'll be assigned a certain amount of points. So it encourages a competitive spirit and encourages all years to do their part on campus to increase our drink cover and to be more environmentally friendly. And we hope that through these activities, we can make Ramaya a really good college and campuses in Karnataka as well.
We just heard from our first student president of Eco Club, Dr. Vishnu. Thank you so much, Dr. Vishnu. And I'm also happy to announce that I'm going to be part of the Eco Club and to work along with the other members of the Eco Club. So with this, I would like our beloved Principal and Dean, Dr. Medhabai Rao, ma'am, to kindly give a few words to our students. And ma'am, would you like to give them a message?
Good afternoon, everybody, online, offline participants. A very warm welcome to our chief guest, Dr. Yellappa Reddy sir also. All the panelists who have agreed to participate. Thanks, Dr. Priya, for giving me this opportunity. At the outset, I have to thank Dr. Lalita and her large team, the faculty of Department of Community Medicine, for inviting me for this program. And at the same moment, let me thank you all once again for believing that you probably could not have conducted this in my absence. So thank you for believing that. And it is now, I think, somewhat evident about my love of nature and passion for plants. Thank you very much for that acknowledgement. So now that I have heard the youngsters speak about it, it was absolutely overwhelming. And the message that I thought I would be giving you all, I had to immediately withdraw because you have spoken a couple of steps ahead of that. So now I had to redesign what I have to say to you people. I must heartily congratulate all the young students who have enthusiastically come forward to become members. And the night of the Eco Club is going to be the youthful members of the club. And I'm so sure about it. Your goals are very ambitious. And now already considering the kind of support we need to give you all to make you successful. Because your success, apart from an individual success, is going to be a success for the institution. So once again, on behalf of the management, I want to express not just congratulations, but gratitude to all the students who have demonstrated this enthusiasm, the first step, volunteering to become members of the club. So at this juncture, I must say that I wish you all the best of luck in every endeavor and the direction you take to be eco-friendly. So now that you know so much about what it means, let me just share a few of my own personal experiences, and with no intention of giving you all any message except a huge bag of good luck. I know we all have lived through the pandemic, the disaster of the pandemic, and are somewhat continuing to live. It has been an eye-opener, and what is indisputably demonstrated is that nature reigns supreme. However much you evolve, nature continues to reign supreme. So we have to bow down to the nature. And that style of bowing comes from supporting and restoration of nature. So that is exactly what you people are planning to do, and that makes us feel very proud. And my experiences dealing with plants in particular, nature is so much more than plants. But let me just share a few examples of what actually it means for you when you are living with plants and the love for plants. It just means that it's going to inculcate those personality traits in you which otherwise may or may not have happened to you. Number one, when you are involved in planting and seeing the plant grow, please remember that it's extremely de-stressing. It's very, very de-stressing at the end of the day. Number two, it wards off your loneliness. To a large extent, they are your companions. Number three, when you plant a tree, very often you're imagining that I would see it grow. The next few days, I would see the first flower in the next couple of weeks. So that looking forward to it keeps your mind so healthy and occupied. Number four, the flower won't bloom in 2 weeks. Or as you have imagined, the plant won't grow the way you want it. And you realize that you have to inculcate a lot of patience. That's another trait which you will learn. Suppose you find that it's grown in a manner which is very different from what you had imagined. You will learn the art of accepting things as they come. You will never keep telling yourself, oh, I wanted this branch to go this way. You realize that you don't have too much control on the external world. You will realize that in life, you cannot have everything to go as per your design. So this ability to accept things as they come is what you're going to gain. And you'll soon learn to use this ability in every walk of life. So do you see how strong you're emerging? And there are times when you see your favorite plant withering, when you don't expect at all, and you start introspecting. Did I do something wrong? Did I water it too much? Did I provide chemicals or other chemicals or fertilizers which did not suit? You learn the art of introspection. For a while you will feel guilty, but you will learn to overcome. For a while, I know there were days when I was so sad and a little depressed when the plant withered. Over a period of time, you realize that nothing is permanent. Again, you're emerging stronger. You will realize how to overcome this sadness in life. All these things I look at as virtues and traits which will come on to you with a single act of trying to nurture a plant. In addition to this, every human being in my experience or my outlook has some ability to nurture. It just depends on what are you nurturing. And here, if you get used to that and involved in nurturing plants, please remember that you're sharpening, you're nurturing natural instinct. And especially people who are in this noble profession, the medical profession, where you're going to deal with life. Plant is a life. You have already learned to nurture it with compassion and that deep involvement because of your passion. The same involvement you will transfer when you're treating the sick patient. And you are therefore bound to become a very compassionate, caring, wholesome doctor. I don't have to teach you all these things. And imagine how happy all of us are going to be if all of you become doctors of that quality. On that note, let me wish you a huge pot of best luck. Happy International Environment Day to all of you. Just what I feel confident is that this is going to sustain. I feel very confident that it's going to sustain. And someday we will all witness Ramaya campus as a modern Shantiniketan. That's something which I'm imagining. It's up to you to make this dream come true. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again and good luck to everybody. I must congratulate Shalini for taking this step in the right direction and spearhead to constitute, monitor, and follow the Eco Club. Good luck to all of you. Thank you so much.
And on behalf of the Eco Club, I'd like to personally thank you for the opportunity you've provided us to be able to work with such like-minded individuals or with those who have similar interests so that we'll all be able to contribute in productive ways. We hope that we can realize this vision of yours for the institution and also the United Nations' larger vision of being able to restore ecosystems in any small way possible by us. So with this, we move to the next main agenda of today's program. So we have a small panel constituted by very eminent speakers on environment restoration. This panel will be moderated by Dr. Shalini C. Nui, Vice Principal Academics, Jamia Medical College, and Professor Community Medicine. Ma'am, I'd like to hand over the session to you.
Thank you, Dr. Preeti. Yeah, wishing you all a very pleasant environment this afternoon. As one of the members of the United Nations said, quote, "This is our moment. We cannot turn back the time, but we can grow trees, green our cities, rewild our gardens, change our diets, clean our rivers and coasts. We are the generation that can make peace with nature. Let us get active, not anxious. Let's be bold, not timid. Join generation restoration," unquote. As the phrase implies, let us go from exploiting nature to healing nature. And the UN is now launching the decade of ecosystem restoration. With that, on this note, we are honored and delighted to have amongst us esteemed environmentalists. I request now the first speaker, Shri Professor Raghottam Rao Kashi, Chairman, Sikh Foundation, to speak to us. I will give a brief introduction about him. Professor Raghottam Rao Kashi has over 3 decades of teaching and training experience. He teaches teachers and corporate company members both in India and abroad. He has conducted many training sessions for private and public sector organizations like Aditya Birla, Metahelix, Indo-French Drug Company, Wipro, Infosys, Forest Department, Transport Department, and Wellington and Jain universities, to name a few. His trainees include youth, teachers, and devotees of Ramakrishna Mutt in many cities. Of note are his many sessions on air pollution mitigation at different institutions throughout Karnataka as part of the Transport Department's Clean Air campaign for the past 5 years. He has led a delegation of Karnataka State Transport Department officials to Thailand and Singapore as part of the Air Care program. Further, Dr. Rao has scripted and directed many documentaries, corporate films, and thematic educational films for Doordarshan, state and central education departments, and for the Jain group of institutions. He has also been honored with awards such as the Best Trainer and Best Humor Awards. We welcome you, Professor Raghutam Rao.
Thank you very much. Thank you. There is an echo. Is it clear? Hello?
Log in two devices. Yeah.
Log out of one device, please.
Am I audible?
You're audible, sir, but you might have logged in from two devices.
Okay,
Could
let
you
me
please?
close one.
Yes, please.
Is it okay now?
Yes. Better.
Am I audible?
No, you have to log out.
You have to log out in
I think one more device you have to log out from. Otherwise, the echo continues.
Is it okay?
till there. Can you mute one out of the two devices? Mute it. Okay.
Can you remove him from?
Can you speak up? Can you speak now?
Is it okay now?
ರವಿ ಅದನ್ನ ತೆಗೀರಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನ.
I'm sorry. Let me try.
Now it's fine, you can continue, sir.
Yeah. You please continue.
It is clear now, sir. You can continue, please.
A message now.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I really thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And my pranams to my guru, Dr. Yellappa Reddy. It's always a pleasure to be with him and get associated in the wonderful work that he has been doing. Well, friends, at the outset, I must tell you, having gone through the objectives of your Eco Club, I don't know what I should say. I had prepared something and which is part of your objectives of the Eco Club. I'm extremely happy because you have included everything in the objectives of the Eco Club. In light of this, I would like to stress on certain issues that we need to very seriously consider today in order to restore our ecosystems, protect and conserve our ecosystem and biodiversity. Friends, it's essential that we learn from our ancient wisdom Our ancient wisdom has talked about all the talking today, and it is our responsibility to go back, get the best of what our elders have said, and try to translate them into action so that we will be able to conserve, protect our ecosystems. Essentially, friends, it was our culture which talked about harmonious living. We wanted harmony in everything. It's not among people. It is between nature and people. It is between, of course, wildlife and people and so on. So essentially, we will have to draw inspiration from our ancient wisdom. When we talk of harmony or harmonious living, I still remember very vividly about 25 years ago, Dr. Yellappa Reddy had talked about one particular picture of Lord Shiva and his family. Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati and their two sons Ganesha and Subramanya and their mounts. Shiva has Nandi as the mount, while Parvati has sometimes, they depict lion or sometimes they depict tiger as a mount. Kartikeya or Subramanya has peacock as his mount, and Lord Ganesha has a rat, a mouse as his mount. And not only that, Shiva also adorns snakes around his neck, and Ganapati also has a snake around his stomach, and all of them are very peacefully, happily coexisting. This is what our culture talked about when we talked about harmonious living. Now look at this picture, analyze this for a while. You have Nandi, the mount of Shiva, which can become food for the tiger or the lion. There is a prey and predator. You have a peacock and a snake. Peacock can feed on a snake, and there is a rat or a mouse, and a snake can eat that. But yet, they are all living harmoniously. And this is the message that our ancestors very clearly sent it to us. So friends, if we can understand this basic philosophy of coexistence, I'm sure we will be contributing for protecting all our ecosystems. Unfortunately, what has happened is, in our greed to exploit, we are exploiting nature indiscriminately. Though we talk about sustainable development, that principle has lost its meaning because we value materialistic wealth and all our pleasures and luxuries in terms of materials. And this is the problem of the day. This is the crux. And that is why today the world is facing another phenomenon called consumerism. Friends, youngsters have a very big role to play in this direction. Please do not become a prey of this consumerism. I have seen a lot of youngsters who, out of compulsion, change their gadgets every year or twice or thrice a year as and when they see a new model entering the market. By buying such products unnecessarily, we are exploiting the natural resources in a very fast pace, and that will add up to diminishing ecosystems or damage that we cause to the ecosystems. Unfortunately, friends, we have not understood this very principle of symbiosis. I scratch your back, you scratch my back, is the basic principle. So live and let live. This is what our ancestors said. In fact, one of the basic mantras that our elders have told us is Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. This is what is very, very important. And if we allow all forms of life to exist, we can exist very peacefully, very happily. There is a beautiful saying in Sanskrit. It says, Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. Every form of life depends on other forms of life. And what we should basically understand here, friends, is all other creatures can exist without human beings, but human beings cannot exist without the presence of all other living beings, or even inanimate things for that matter. So let us respect our nature, Mother Nature. If we respect our Mother Nature, and if we really believe in sustainable development, as the saying goes, nature will provide for every need, but not for the greed. So let us not become greedy. In fact, there is also a verse which is used in the puja procedure. When we offer flowers to God, our ancestors have said two very important flowers that you must offer to the Lord. Of course, there are 8, as I mentioned. I need not touch on all of them. Of them, which are very, very, very important to this context, are Ahimsa Prathamam Pushpam Indriya Nigrahaha. These are the 2 flowers that we should offer to the Lord among the 8 that they mention. The first one is Ahimsa. If we can respect and leave all other forms of life to coexist, we are doing a great service to nature, and nature will certainly give us back what it should give us. We will get our due from nature. But unfortunately, as I was telling you, we are so greedy that we try to overexploit. It is not just a question of exploitation, it is a question of overexploitation. And Indriya Nigraha, we need to control our senses. And consumerism, friends, is because we have forgotten Indriya Nigraha. You know, we eat what we should not eat. Just to give a small example, today the world is talking against Coca-Cola and Pepsi, but we know we consume tons and tons of Pepsi and Coke in our country. So also many other things that we eat, they're all junk. We know pretty well that it is junk, but unfortunately we continue to consume this. That is because we are not in a position to control our senses. So Indriya Nigraha is of paramount importance here when we talk of conservation. Friends, one beautiful symbolic representation. Most of you will have seen Goddess Lakshmi standing on a lotus. The lotus is the pedestal on which Goddess Lakshmi is standing. What this symbolizes? In fact, many people ridicule. They say, can a person stand on a lotus? Friends, let us analyze this. Why this symbolism? Our ancestors were very intelligent. They were very wise. They have just represented this for us to think, for us to analyze and act very consciously, very judiciously. What it represents is, Goddess Lakshmi represents wealth. We are talking of natural wealth, and she is standing on the pedestal, the lotus, and that is very fragile. The message for all of us is our wealth, our natural wealth, our earth, our Mother Earth is very fragile. We are standing on that. We must be very, very careful in discreetly using the materials, the material wealth, which comes from nature. So if we understand why Goddess Lakshmi is standing on a lotus. Our ecosystem is so fragile. We must be very, very cautious, very conscious in utilizing these materials. And that is where sustainable development comes into picture. If you are really serious about sustainable development, shall certainly provide many things. Apart from this, friends, I have a special request with all the participants, the youngsters in particular. Swami Vivekananda believed in the power of youth. So also we believe in your power. And I want all of you to become active in environmental activism. In fact, the youngest member perhaps of this particular webinar, the young person, because he is so young in heart and spirit, by spirit, he has started a fight against our Ministry of Forests and Environment to save one of the small stretches of rainforests that we have in a place called Anvi near Dandeli. And youngsters, you must take up this cause, support people like Mr. Reddy, because we need a very strong, committed leader to lead us. And it is time for us to join hands with such people who are doing wonderful work to conserve. As I was telling you, a small patch of rainforest in North Karnataka. If we cannot save it today, I'm sure we will not be able to even see a stretch of rainforest like in the future. So friends, it's not just talking about what we do in our campus, what we do just outside my campus or in my place. As the saying goes, think globally, act locally. Now, locally, you have a wonderful opportunity to join hands with Ms. Leparetti. Let's all pledge our support, wholeheartedly support this cause. If we can do it, we will be able to utilize our youth power very constructively, very positively. We need not go against law. We need not do anything which promotes violence, but non-violent path of protest. This is the need of the hour. And you have talked about all your objectives. I'm extremely happy because what I had prepared, you showed it in the slides, and I thought, I must change my line of discussion with you. And one final thing, friends, you can also take up small activities like a tree census in your area. You can conduct. Of course, Mr. A.N. Leparetti is very passionate about it. Perhaps he would also talk about it when he speaks to you. But this is my request. And when you think of planting, greening any area, my request to all of you is please go for native species. Don't think of any exotic species which may harm the environment and our health too. So let us identify local species which can grow comfortably in that particular geographical region, whether it's Bangalore or outside. Let's select very carefully the local species and plant. And you should also at the same time start thinking about greening your indoors with wonderful plants which would give you very good quantity of oxygen, which will certainly activate your brains, and you will become the best students of a great institution like MS Ramaya Medical College. Thank you very much for a patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for giving us a beautiful explanation of live and let live and harmonious living. I'm sure it will inspire our young students to think about it and take it forward. Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Shibu K. Nair. He is the South Asia Regional Coordinator for Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives. He has been active in movements and campaigns related to environment and toxins since 1991. He entered into the realm of environmental activism through organizing environment education programs for schools in Kerala. He is one of the pioneers of zero waste movement in India and led the zero waste campaigns and programs for Thanal, one of the oldest environmental organizations in South India. His expertise is in organics management, designing and developing zero waste systems at community level, and strategizing zero waste programs and campaigns. We welcome you, Mr. Shibu. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Namaskaram. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I think the sound is echoing. Is
Fine, sir.
Yeah.
all right? Okay. So good evening to all, and especially I feel like very much lucky to be in a kind of a panel with a lot of people who have lots of experience as well as the kind of vision about this world. I just want to share my slides. I don't want to just. Can I share? Oh, okay, it's there.
You can share.
Oh, right. So just before initiating, like before just getting into the presentation, one, I appreciate the initiative of Ramaya Medical College and Hospitals, especially keeping this much time for discussing environment, as well as I also appreciate that the spirit of the young doctors, the Eco Club members and their work, and the kind of even a kind of a very small study, but which may have kind of an impact on that masks and how masks are managed. And I think this is the right time for me to speak something about other thing. And just before starting the presentation, I would invite the Young Doctors Club, the Eco Club, because you are very important, especially in the policy formulation forums at the global level. Gaia is Global Alliance for Incidental Alternatives, which is one of the largest network organization working on waste, toxics, plastics, circular economy, and so forth, and which is also possesses the observer rank in many of the international forums like Stockholm Convention, as well as climate change forums and Rotterdam Convention. So these are the areas where actually people like you can represent, especially can represent the youth with valid kind of observations or key information so that you can contribute to the global policies. And these global policies are actually getting transcended to our local economy and local ecology. So working for nature is no more kind of doing something very small in our neighborhood, because you need to think big. So you need to think globally and act locally. That is what I often say. So I would invite all of you to especially the Eco Club to be a member in Gaia, so that you can be the partner of the global network of people and can work with other organizations and other networks in South Asia. So Gaia is basically like we have different segments, and I am representing Gaia South Asia, Gaia Asia Pacific, and I work as a coordinator for Gaia South Asia. And we have Zero Waste Europe, as well as Gaia US and Canada, and Gaia Africa and Gaia South America. So these are the major regions based on that kind of nature of geographical thing. And we mostly work on we work with around more than 800 grassroots level organizations and sub-regional networks across 92 countries. It's a completely a kind of a campaign policy advocacy kind of an organization, engages in medical, technical, as well as socio-economic research and campaigns across the globe. So I just want to acknowledge my colleague, Mr. Yobal Novian Putra from Indonesia, who is actually leading our campaign on climate change and clean energy, especially looking at waste and incineration as a kind of a solution. So I just borrowed his slides. So the thing is that at some point of time in this previous presentations, we were actually touching upon something about waste. And I think my role, as a person who is working on waste for last 20 years or so, I am also very much attached to the issue of waste. And the thing, I think that right now we are going to be in a kind of a very difficult situation, especially when it comes to public health. So the public health is completely dependent upon the environmental health of our region. And the post-COVID scenario is going to be very critical, especially where people are infected. Like this is going to be have problems with lungs, especially this small virus is actually damaging the pulmonary systems, and this is going to create effects in the long run. Maybe in the next few years, you may see number of cases increasing, and as well as at the same time, it is critical. The critical part is that the ambient air quality, that is going to be very critical in this sense. So with the current status of ambient air quality, the problems of patients like COVID patients are going to get aggravated in many places. And this is the one area where we need to focus, especially as medical fraternity. I think this is going to be a burden on you in the near future. So we all discuss about sustainability, and we have clear definitions about sustainable development that which meets the needs of current generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. I think this is very beautifully presented by quoting Mahatma Gandhi by my previous presenter on everything is there, not for our greed, but for our need. So that is there already. And when we just look at sustainability from different perspectives, from social, environment, and economic, it has to be bearable and it has to be equitable. So social justice is something which is very important in that aspect, and it should be viable. So all these three joins together to make the system sustainable. And when you look at keeping the economy at the center, the outer area, the society, and the larger part is the environment. So the society depends upon the environment, and economy is dependent upon society. But normally people think the other way around, everything dependent upon the economy. So different times demand different questions. Like in 20th century, we were discussing about waste management. You just go to anywhere, there are different fancy names for it, sustainable waste management, integrated waste management, advanced waste management. So then in nutshell, waste management was focusing on the key issue of safety, and how to get rid of waste was the concept, or how to get rid of the waste, or how to dispose it, or how to make it disappear. But in 21st century, the things have changed, and it was replaced with the resource management. From waste management, we are shifting, or it's a kind of a paradigm shift. It's called resource management, where how do we handle our discards or discarded resources in ways which do not deprive future generations of some, if not all, of their value. So that is the major challenge. So this is a new perception. That is where the idea of zero waste comes in. So normally, so this is the key issue of sustainability as well. And if you remember, many of our friends always talk about, whenever it comes to waste management, they say, okay, 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. But that period has gone. It is outdated. Now there are 3 E's: ethics, efficiency, and economics, or ethical resource use, efficient economic use, for larger economy of the people. So this is the kind of a new approach, and this new approach is not at all a new thing for India, fortunately, because it was there as part of our culture, and it was there as part of our standard of living. I think the generations here, the previous generation, they know how they manage, even a very simple thing, just before having a glass of water, asking the person sitting nearby whether you require water. See, whenever I travel outside, I just take my water bottle and drink it, not from directly, I just pour it from the up. So my friends used to ask, why are you just drinking like without touching your lips on that glass or without touching your lips on that bottle. So for me, it was a kind of a quite natural thing, because that is what I have seen in our like daily life, and this is the way my parents taught me. So the underlying fact is that, see, we think that maybe somebody else may need water, so it is always good to keep that water uncontaminated, so that the other person can also use it. But you don't see that very regularly in other parts of the world. Like people just sip from their own water bottle, like it's their personal water bottles, and they sip it. There is no issue. But if you just check it with the other Indian fellows, like whenever you see that, or you just see among your friends, there are people who are not doing this just because they are willing. That shows that they are willing to share that resources. So this is a kind of the culture. So that is what we call as culture, like the sharing mindset, and that is the basis of zero waste. So zero waste is not at all new for India or for this subcontinent, because we had it in our blood and we had it in our culture. But unfortunately, we forgot in the period of what we call disposable economy. So what we do with our resources, that we get all the energy, we convert everything, and then we consume it. So in this process, it's a kind of a linear process where you take, make, and waste. So that is the kind of a general linear system of economy which we have right now. So it starts with extraction, and then it goes for production and consumption, and then it goes to disposal. And disposals means like a destruction of resources. It is not recovery. So this is the kind of conventional system we have, and we need to break this circle, and we need to develop it into circular economy, where we can actually take or convert all these discards back into system. To convert all the discards back into resources, you cannot do that from thinking from the waste side. So you need to have, like, waste management is mostly described as end of the pipe solutions. But when it comes to zero waste, when it comes to sustainable development, you need upstream management. So you need to think about better designs, better materials. You need to think about toxics reduction in the first place, so that your product may not contaminate others. So that is the kind of area where people are right now working on green chemistry or green engineering, things like that, and it is coming into mainstream right now. So when everything is mixed, it is waste, and this is something which we all know. And when it is segregated, it becomes a resource. So the current linear system to circular is something which we need. And I think from the linear, you cannot just switch from one point to other, but you need a kind of a transition. So let us move from the throwaway society to better systems, like where we are considering our discards and maximizing its use through downcycling, and we are leaving a part of it as waste. But closing the loop is the final thing, that is called our circular economy. This is where now the governments are and the communities are working on. So I just wanted to share something very important with you in this changed scenario. Like waste management is often associated with, like, whenever you think about waste management, incineration or waste incineration comes in place as a kind of a solution. And since we are concerned about the ambient air quality, and we are concerned about the post-COVID scenario, and where we I think post-COVID scenario is going to also generate more disposables than in the past, because people are scared about this virus and nobody want to use something which is used by others. And that means we are going to have more disposable products. That means more plastic waste, and we are going to burn everything together, and we are shifting all the load into the air, and this is going to affect the ambient air quality. Especially, I think there are proposals for Bengaluru. Right now, there are 5 waste to energy projects are waiting to come up in Bengaluru. You just think about the whole Bengaluru city, and on the outer rim of this the city, there are proposals for 5 mega. It's not even small. 5 mega waste to energy projects, each one managing something around 500 to 600 tons of waste per day. So that is one upcoming thing. And in Delhi, for a long time, like the communities are fighting against it just because of the municipal waste incineration. And the doctors, actually the doctor communities there are very helpful in community, like they are helping them to identify the issues, especially the number of cases related to cancer is growing up in Sukhvihar part of Delhi. So I think I don't need to explain all these things. And this is basically burning. So either you burn in the open, that is what we used to do. Especially in India, we used to burn everything. But at that point of time, it was safe because we don't burn anything dangerous thing. Like we don't have any hazardous materials in that flame. But right now, we set up like a closed burning, and or even open burning is also continues. And we have closed burning. That closed burning technology is named as incineration, but there are many names like waste to energy, plastic to fuel, thermal waste to energy, plasma arc technology, energy from waste or pyrolysis technology, waste gasifier. So whatever they say, the different names, but the same technology that burns stuff. So this is something which we need to understand. This is burning. Thermal conversion means burning, and by burning you cannot make material disappear. That is the fundamental law of physics, where you cannot destroy material. So you cannot destroy matter. So what you are doing is that you are actually converting that into other form. So you have solid waste and you are converting that into gas and ash. So you have a landfill on the ground and you are shifting it up 50 meters up in the air so that it will get into the lungs of millions. So the idea of incinerator is not new. Like even from the smallest, the one which you always find on the rooftops, they are the very crude form of and very toxic thing. And then we moved into the larger, like what you call mechanisms, like which they claim to have purifiers or what you call pollution control devices to the kind of a factory setups. So these these larger plants are the photographs from Delhi, and the smaller one is from Trivandrum, which I found recently in a flat. So when you look at the Indian scenario, we generate around 56 million tons of waste, and mind you, that is 40 to 70% of it is organic. That means you have organic waste, of which 70% is water, and that is something which we are trying to burn it in our waste to energy plants. And 10 to 15 is non-recyclable or non-biodegradable and low value materials, and the rest is recyclable. So out of like 100 tons of waste, you have to with the design problem, we have around 10% of the total waste which cannot be managed either for recycling or for composting, and there is no recycling option. So they need to go for landfills, and the calorific value is 1411 to 2150 kilocalorie, and that means the burnability, like the ability to burn this is very low. The fuel efficiency is very low, and the moisture content is 41 to 52%. So this is the Indian scenario. So that makes it very clear that Indian waste, if segregated into two, you are solving the issue by 70%. Like if you segregate waste at home or at source into two, organic and non-biodegradable, that means the organic can go directly for composting or for anaerobic digestion, and it can be converted back into soil. So you can actually, it is very easy to solve that 70% of waste. The technology is there, and we are in a tropical country where the tropical climate, it is very suitable for managing organic waste. And around another 40 to 50% of like 40% of the waste is recyclable, and which is being brilliantly picked up by our informal sector, including the kabadiwalas and waste pickers. That is one of the largest network in the world. It is there, and they are managing the rest of the recyclables, and actually they are the environment warriors, and they are the environmentalists, I would say, because they are the people who are saving energy and who are saving resources for this country. And only the 10% which we do not know how to manage it. So the current scenario is that the photograph on the bottom right bottom is waste landfill in Delhi, and just opposite you can see the waste to energy facility. So this is the scenario. See, the waste to energy facilities cannot manage waste, so they burn it, say half burnt and fully combusted materials. They are just dumping it to the landfills. And in Delhi, it is not the only landfill, and this landfill is actually competing with Taj Mahal. I think if we are fortunate in next 5 or 6 years, that will outnumber in terms of height. This will be the highest structure in terms of man-made structure. So the waste is going to outperform the beauty of the beautiful architecture in Delhi. And this is not the one thing. I think there are at least 6 waste dumps in and around Delhi. So this is a kind of scenario we are in. Right now, we have 92 waste to energy plants which produce 250 megawatts. So like 100 tons waste needed for 1 megawatt. So that is their calculation. And 15% of waste is non-recyclable, non-biodegradable. That means around 30,000 tons per day. So that is something which you can actually burn. It is not actually, I won't suggest to burn it. And our capacity with 48 plants is 37,000. So we already have overcapacity. Even with overcapacity, we cannot manage the kind of waste we are generating. So this is something, not the issue of technology. It is the issue of management, and it is the issue of perception, or how we perceive the issue. And what is released from the stack? So many things. When you say it is basically it's carbon dioxide and some water, and then acid gases, toxic metals, POPs. That is going to be very crucial. Persistent organic pollutants, especially dioxins and furans and polychlorinated biphenyls. So these are the individual names of chemicals coming out of or spewing out of a waste to energy plant or a waste incinerator, whether it is a waste incinerator in a municipality or in a hospital premise. So this is going to be highly toxic, and we don't know the cocktail effect of all these chemicals. See, these chemicals are coming not in a kind of a segregated way, and plus nanoparticles. And the nanoparticle pollution is very high, especially when you look at the ambient air quality in India. Delhi, Lucknow ranks first at the global level, and I think just Delhi is competing with it. Gurgaon is next. Bangalore is also coming up in the list. So that means the kind of nanoparticles, the kind of smoke, the chemicals, everything is going to, this is going to choke our cities. This is going to choke every single person in this country, and this is going to damage the entire human resource in this country. So this is, I am not going in details for this. And people claim that waste to energy is actually a climate solution, but it is not. The chart itself shows that, if you go for recycling, you are actually the impact is minus 1395, but the carbon emission from burning waste is positive 892. That means we are adding more carbon to the climate, and that is adding to the global warming. WHO stated that dioxins are highly toxic and can cause reproductive and developmental problems, damage the immune system, interfere with hormones, and also cause cancer. And incinerators are one of the largest source of dioxins in this world. Short-term exposure of humans to high levels of dioxins may result in skin lesions. Long-term exposures linked to impairment of the immune system, the developing nervous system, and the endocrine system, and reproductive functions. So we all know that persistent organic pollutants, this is all about the Stockholm Convention, is right. The Stockholm Convention was set up to eliminate POP chemicals, persistent organic pollutants, and they have listed 12 chemicals, which is listed as the dirty dozens. And these are the two major chemicals, dioxins and furans. They call it as unintentional byproducts, which are the most toxic substance, and which is in the list. And even now we are generating it through incinerating our municipal waste, or even incinerating the medical waste. Sorry, it is stuck somewhere. Okay, so dioxins and furans emission standards, the funniest part is that in many of the countries, including India, we go for, or we check the dioxin levels after, say, okay, after 3 days or after a week, and even after burning it, you have ash. What are you going to do with this kind of ash? And you need to landfill it. And this is a photograph from the most beautiful Singapore, and this is a landfill in the sea. So you are dumping toxic ash into sea and keeping it as a kind of a ticking bomb. And dioxins are in our food chain. I think there are many studies, and it shows, and the most vulnerable is our newborn babies, because it get accumulated in human fat and it is getting transferred to the fetus, and from fetus it comes to the kid. So every single child is born in this world with a fixed deposit of persistent organic pollutants. So these are some of the very health related issues, and that is why the incinerators are actually, the number of incinerators are getting down, and there are public resistance in many parts of the world. And on a daily basis, or you are hearing the stories about incineration and the public protest, and the statistics also show that this is being opposed in many places. So in zero waste hierarchy, incineration is something which is unacceptable. But in the conventional waste management hierarchy, they still opt for incineration. They still opt for centralized waste management. That is the wrong way of doing it. So we need to go for zero waste, where decentralized resource recovery systems work, where you segregate your waste at source and manage all your organic waste into compost or into biogas, and all the recyclables for recycling by integrating the waste pickers as well as the kabadiwalas or the recycling industry in this country. And for the rest of the materials, you need landfill. If you go for an waste to energy project, you have to have like 10% of the it will get reduced into 10% of ash, and for that you need a landfill. But when you go for zero waste, again you will have only a 10% of materials which cannot be managed, and that need to be landfill. So I think in that sense, zero waste systems are better, and it is working. Especially, I am talking to you from Kerala, a place where we work with the waste. We implemented zero waste in Kerala, and many of the cities are right now working on. And in Bengaluru, you can see that one of the organization, Hasidudala, is engaging waste pickers in getting the dry waste and segregated, and ensuring that it is going for recycling, and thereby it supports the people or the livelihood in that community. So I think being the doctors, or being the people who are in a way responsible for the public health, I think you need to look into this issue, and maybe you can contribute in international policy forums through with your observations or with your technical inputs, or you have to bring that in the discussions, especially on environmental health side. And environmental health and environmental justice is very important, and that is something which we need to reiterate on this World Environment Day. And the World Environment Day, this year's slogan is rethink or reimagine, recreate and restore. And we need to restore the ambient air quality, because ambient air is a kind of an ocean in which we all live together. Thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shibu Nair, especially for bringing in the concept of sustainability through ethics, efficiency, and economics, as well as talking about closing the loop, which is really very necessary during our times. Thank you very much. I now request Mr. Ravi to play the video message which was sent to us by Dr. Vishal Mehta, who's an environmental scientist with more than 15 years of experience in water resource research, forest conservation, and sustainable development. Based in Davis, California, and he was kind enough to send us a 5-minute video message from there. He manages and leads policy-relevant projects on integrated water resources management, innovations in web-based geoinformatics, urban water and energy sustainability. His expertise includes forest ecosystem sciences, hydrological modeling, and the use of several geographic information systems. He's working with Ramaya Medical College with the deep fluoridation plant and supporting us with concepts and new knowledge on defluoridation. Please play the video.
with the Stockholm Environment Institute, based in the US Center in Davis, California. I am originally from Bangalore, and I work with doctors Nandakumar, Sanjay Desai, and Arjun Isaac in Ramaya. And it's certainly a pleasure for me to be with you, although it has to be remotely because I was not able to travel back home to be with you. Today, I thought that I would talk about making connections with each other and our planet. As you know, we are in all kinds of trouble in terms of what we've done with this planet, in terms of water and air pollution. So I just wanted to share a few thoughts today, since I cannot actually be there live with you for an interaction. First, I'd like to share a little bit about the organization I work with. It's a global nonprofit organization called the Stockholm Environment Institute that was started in 1991. There are 8 centers in 6 countries, and our mission is to bridge science and policy. We work very broadly at all kinds of scales, from city scale to village scale to country scale, and even through IPCC negotiations at the international scale. On climate, water, and energy, over the past decade, 2 decades, a lot of work has focused on climate change impacts and adaptation. And I personally work and would like to work a lot more in India, which is why we set up this collaboration with Ramaya Medical College and Hospital. To give you a brief idea of what we are working on together, some of you may know that fluorosis is a big health problem in India. It's also a big health problem all around the world. So if you see this map on the right, these are the global hotspots for high fluoride in groundwater, which naturally occurs in certain types of rocks. And India certainly has at least 2 big zones for very high fluoride concentrations, and millions of people around the world, including in India, are exposed to high fluoride in drinking water, which naturally occurs. And this leads to several health impacts, 2 of which are dental fluorosis, shown here at the bottom, and skeletal fluorosis, shown here. In fact, from one of the field stations that you all at Ramaya would be very familiar with, which is Kaiwara. But there's all kinds of pollution going on. It's not just fluorosis and fluoride, which is actually naturally occurring. Human-made pollution, of course, is a big topic and has been for a while, especially in India, with our rivers and oceans being polluted very badly. Emerging contaminants include pharmaceuticals in the water. For example, in this map and this study, we see that as many as 11 to 30 and more, 31 to 100 different types of pharmaceuticals have been found across India in all its drinking water sources. Beyond water pollution, we all know as Indians that air pollution is a very big issue, especially in the north, but in all big cities, but in the north in the winter, because of atmospheric conditions combining with the terrible pollution we have. And during this time of lockdowns, we have seen the impact that we could make in a positive sense if we just cleaned up the way we live and the way we drive and where our factories are and so on. According to the New York Times, India was home to 14 of the 20 cities with the most hazardous air in 2019. So when it comes to linking environmental quality and human and environmental health, I think you doctors at Ramaya have a very big role to play with all kinds of other people, including me as an environmental scientist, so we can join our experience, our insights, and work towards a common cause. It's very appropriate that the theme for you all at Ramaya today is ecosystem or ecological restoration. I'm sure you all know that this is the decade, UN decade on ecosystem restoration, with the message of preventing, halting, and reversing the degradation of ecosystems worldwide. And this is going to need connections that we make with each other and that we make with our planet. In short, I think that my main message to you all is to work across disciplines for a common cause, form new alliances, put people together. And I hope that you will all find during your time at Ramaya and beyond a lot of good people to work with, and a lot of common causes to work on. Here is a snapshot from the UN website from the same web portal on ecosystem restoration to give you some ideas and some inspiration that you can find not just internationally, but just right where you live, doing everything you can every day, small and big, to prevent, halt, and reverse ecological degradation. And with that, I wish you a wonderful day of interactions. And again, I do wish I could have been there in person to celebrate this important day with you and think of creative ways in which we can recover our connection to nature. Thank you and have a good day. Hello, everyone.
Thank you. I request Dr. Priyadarshini to take it forward from.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, today we're joined by a very eminent guest, Dr. A.N. Ellappareddy, sir. So, can I kindly request our HOD Dr. Lalita ma'am to introduce our guest of honor?
Thank you, Priya. It's indeed my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ellappareddy. I think he's not new to our institution. He's been working with us from last 3 decades, and he's always supported us with our biomedical waste management from way back in '98 itself. Ellappareddy sir, we are happy to have with us. He's the noted environmentalist, and I think we are all aware that he has been passionate about environment and he strongly works in the area of conservation of natural forests and protection of endangered animals and plants in Western Ghats section of Karnataka. He has nurtured several herbal gardens, sacred groves, and pavitra vanas in the which is related to Ayurveda and local traditions in the forest ecosystems of our state. And during his tenure as conservator of forests and later as secretary to Government of Karnataka, Department of Ecology and Environment and Forests, he has worked extensively for restoration and protection of lakes and rivers of the state. He has worked as governing council member of Foundation for Ecological Security of India, and he was a member of Karnataka High Court Lok Adalat. And I think during this time, he emphasized the importance of liquid waste management, which was generated in the healthcare facilities. And he is the chief advisor to Bangalore University Biodiversity Park, chief advisor to Agastya International Kuppam, chairman of Bangalore Corporation Biodiversity Board, faculty in National Law School of India University, and faculty in IIM Bangalore. Under the project of Biodiversity Park in Nanavati campus, he has initiated soil conservation and rainwater conservation of campus and planted 3 lakh indigenous medicinal plants and aromatic plants. By virtue of his contribution to the cause of conservation in the state and appreciation, Bangalore University has conferred him upon the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters, and is the recipient of Indira Priyadarshini Award for his achievement in the field of forestry. We have with us Dr. Ellappareddy. Sir, it's our honor to have on our board. I know with your rich experience, lots of wisdom and things you need to, I don't think this time is enough, but however, I request you to shell out your pearls of wisdom in the short time and encourage our young students to work for the cause of environment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Namaste. I'm very
Namaste, sir.
happy.
Yes, I can. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Right. I'm very happy to associate in this event, very important event. I heard everyone, right from the Eco Club members to the principal madam to the last speaker. It is amazing. You have selected a wide range of issues to discuss, which are very relevant. Now, I will take maybe about 5, 6, 7 minutes, not more than that you have already informed me. So we actually started, my connection with Ramaya started in 1993, not 98. And I utilized your faculty, Community Health Department, about biomedical waste. You have led the country, you have collected a lot of data. Then we were the pioneers to move the government of India to bring in a legislation about the biomedical waste with your then principal Girish, Prithvish, and all of you were there, and Lalita and all of you. So now, after listening to all the personalities who have narrated, starting from the mask and its how to dispose, my request to you, yes, mask is being manufactured with so many people with all kinds of materials. So you have to find out what type of materials they used for manufacturing the masks. And just now, Shibu has mentioned about the POPs. Shibu has mentioned about the lead and all other things about the incineration. A mask which we discard will be burnt in many places indiscriminately. So what my request to you, you must analyze and find out and also recommend to the government to formulate a policy, what type of materials to be used for making such masks, etc. The second point, which I have observed, you have several programs. Among them, the most important one is about, you should start from your institute, all activities, whatever you have suggested to others, and then automatically they will emulate that activities. For instance, I learned many things from the Ramayam Medical College for about nearly 5-6 years, that is after my retirement. Then now I implemented the total package in Bangalore Kidwai Hospital and developed mechanism for zero waste, developed wonderful landscape, water landscape, green landscape, and with the help of the then director, present director, present director Ramchandra. For your information, within 1 year, we were able to transform 40 acres of the land with 25,000 plants, and more than 30% of the plants are antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. Today, it will have a look of a much better place than even Lal Bagh and Kabir Park. And regarding the waste management, everything has been converted into some sort of a resource, but it needs many more interventions. We are planning for that. All these things we were able to do it within less than 1 year. There is no involvement of the public, government. It's all public participations. So your principal has become a real doctor of trees. The way she explained about the importance of trees, it is far better than myself. So I must really congratulate and thank Madam. She is not only a doctor for human beings, she has become a doctor for the trees also. That is a commitment. Now I will come to the very important issues. My learned friend, Professor Raghutam Rao, has mentioned about how man has become something different. Though he claims he is a crown of evolution, though he is a lost child, the amount of damage he has caused is amazing. For your kind information, the Mother Earth started breathing around 3.5 billion years ago. So the scientist has now given a very relevant information. Out of 250 planets which they identified, there is no life. only in this planet 3.5 billion years ago, the life started in this planet only. That is Mother Earth. Mother Earth is controlled and regulated by God's Son with his power and maintaining the distance. Similarly, Moon is regulating and preventing the wobbling with his gravitation from the wobbling, and otherwise the Earth would have been collapsed. So the Nandi Betta or Savandurga or even all the hills in and around Bangalore clearly tells the history of the land. About 3.5 billion years ago, they detected the materials found only in and around Bangalore and also in other places. So we are living in Bangalore city, which is very stable, very steady, and it has taken millions of years to restore that. And coming to the ocean and its pollution and other things, every human being should feel ashamed. I think many students and many teachers even today smoke. They throw a cigarette butt. Cigarette butt has reached the ocean. There are 19 million tons of cigarette butts have been accumulated in the ocean from Bangalore city to the rivers to the ocean. So like that, man is abused and for some sort of pleasures. And today, the world is facing this wreckage. 90% of it is man-made. So now, whatever the programs you are initiating in your hospitals, etc., for planting programs, my suggestion to you to plant appropriate plants which will improve the breathable air, which have got great ability to trap particulate matters. For instance, Kadamba, which I planted in your hospital campus, they have all become beautiful, excellent giant trees now. I also planted the Saraka indica in your mortuary so that it is a tree which can take care of this stress. Saraka indica or Saraka ashoka is sorrowless tree. So God has given very rich biodiversity for us, and that can be integrated at an appropriate way in appropriate assemblage to improve the quality of the life of our hospital beds. And like that, we can plan very systematically regarding the incinerators and its impact is the whole the breathable air at the global level has become a toxic loaded substance. In Bangalore also, Professor Parameshwara, my friend, has warning us from last 40 years. But government is not prepared to understand the consequences. And even now, everybody talks about the vaccines and the pills and the hospitals and other things and oxygen, and nobody is thinking about from last 6 months. From last 6 months in Bangalore city, 500 Vaturukshas, 500-year-old Vaturukshas have been butchered, and tree cutting is going on. We filed writ petitions, as Mr. Raghutam Rao is telling, and for even Anchi National Park, small bit of this thing also. I have to file a writ petition in the court to save that one because I served there. So only thing is, general public and the youths should become responsible citizens. Otherwise, they have to pay a very big price, and they should become active members in understanding the global issues. Especially Ramaya Community Health Department has played very, very important role, and they have associated with me from 1993 onwards. And I am very proud to say that we initiated biomedical waste management regulations, and you have become the pioneers, and you have started the conducting classes for the biomedical waste people to handle, and published several books in Kannada and English. And masterpieces. Thanks to all of you. All of you were at that time taken initiative. Even now, Ramaya group of institutes with the leadership of my very close friend Srinivas Murthy and also your chairman can take a lead in several things. For instance, I request you, some of you should visit Kidwai Hospital, which I was able to transform within 6 months. So there are how many hospitals are there in Bangalore? So every hospital can become an oxygen bank. And also they will take care of the miasma of the ambient air. That is the virus, bacteria, and total drug resistant bacteria. And I planted more than about 100 species, 100 varieties of the plumerias in covered park. Once they blossom, they will kill the total the bacteria. The bacteria tuberculosis, the total drug resistant bacteria, and planted, and now they are blossoming because all the walkers there, they will get some good quality breathable air. Mother Earth is something, if we destroy, we are now facing the music. If it's 2019, 2021, I think we must learn a lesson and we must try to, we are unable to understand the tiniest thing and we are dictating the terms to the whole world. So all our ego, arrogance of treating Mother Earth as a maid servant, as stated by Francis Bacon, very eminent economist of the world. We have said that Mother Earth is a maid servant. We can dictate. Now, who has to dictate whom? You think over that. Are you able to dictate terms to the Mother Earth? Are you able to control anything? So why don't you understand these things? And your medicine alone won't work. Medicine with ecosystems, restoration of the ecosystems, rejuvenation of the ecosystem, revitalization of the ecosystems, and we are completely destroying hills after hills in and around Bangalore for destroying and creating a fluoride we're talking about. The granite contains, our granite contains quite a lot of fluoride. When you crush it, this fluoride will get into the ambient air, into the water, into the food and food web. So you must undertake some of the local epidemiological studies and try to project it fearlessly. Government is not going to take any action because if you take up some of the studies, scientific studies, and come out powerfully to convince them, as you did for biomedical waste. Now, there are several other subjects for you, community, especially community health department. So recently, my learned friend Vivek Javali has mentioned that the health university needs revitalization. Health syllabus needs revitalization, needs something to be revised. I was so happy that a famous surgeon, Javali, has come out very heavily on the university and health university, and they should come out very strongly and change the attitude, syllabus, and the ethics. Everybody is talking about the ethics. Everybody is very clearly, every speaker has mentioned about morality and immorality. Ultimately, it is the self-morality makes difference. So today, self-immorality at any cost, the predatory elements wanted to make money and profit and profit and profit and profit at any cost. Anyway, Dr. Lalita and the principal and the CEO and all of you, I'm grateful for help.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for getting you wrong. 1993 was our long association, and you have been our mentor. And I think we still see that our parking lot, which is there, madam, has been the trees which sir has suggested, and it's given a beautiful shading for the parking, though we don't have a sheet there. Sir, it is a wonderful place there for vehicles parking there. Thank you for all your mentoring and support extended to us. Sir, you are not audible. Mute audible.
It is the Kadambas, Kadamba Vanavasini. So the Kadambas have got great ability to trap finest particulate matter. So you can breathe good air in and around that green particular landscape.
Thank you, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. An honor to have on our program, and it was indeed pearls of wisdom which you spent in a very small time which we have extended for you. Thank you. Over to Priya.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we have listened to many eminent speakers, such seasoned environmentalists, but and we're almost at the fag end of our program. But as we all know, the whole Mother Earth has to needs to be continued to be nurtured by the future generations. So we've had a competition to come up with ideas on how to go about ecosystem restoration. So we have this very exciting award announcement session right now. So the results of this essay and photo caption competition that were held over the last week are going to be announced. So I'd like to hand over the session to Mr. Shivraj sir.
Thank you. Good evening, all, present here and presenting online. It is my honor to present the one of the winners of the competition. Of course, all the competition was overwhelming. So we never expected so many entries for the competition at this time, during this COVID-19 pandemic situation also. So definitely we congratulate all the participants. So all of them deserve a big round of applause. I'll move on to the competition of the essay competition. So the topic of the competition was saving our environment for now and beyond. So the judges for the essay competition were Dr. Vinay Martin, Dr. Chitra, and Dr. Shailin Nui. So the winners of the essay competition were, so the second runner-up was Mr. Chirag Bansal. Yeah. If you are online, please. Congratulations to you. And the first runner-up is Miss Sahana is Inamdar.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And the winner is Miss Bhavani Sharma, third year BP students. Congratulations.
Okay. Can you hear it, Bhavani?
Yeah. So now I would like to announce the winners of photo caption. Before announcing this, we have a small video or photos of all the nominees. Before that, we'll show all the photos have been sent.
We received around 30, more than 30. A few of them were filtered because they were not original pictures. Only pictures which have been shot by the students and faculty have been considered.
Even the essay competition of more than 30
entries as
many of them had sent up to the deadline also.
There are more than
So
35.
you are going to give them certificates,
Yeah,
now?
we are issuing the certificate for all the participants. So you got your nomination for the photo competition.
More than the this thing, and they had also given very good captions for each of the photos.
Let's see.
I'll just go through all the photos.
It was because Dr. Lalita kept nagging me, no? I had to give in. I thought time is very short, they're not going outdoors, how they do it? But she kept on saying,
What's
no salon, no haircut, so what? We are fine with this new outlook, adapted. New rules set by the nature, so cute. This is the first one, number, but that is the.
Yeah.
This is the first one.
No, we have quite a lot. Could you please?
Quickly run up, no?
Run.
But you have to run.
Leap of faith, and this is by neonatologist Dr. Pradeep. This is by Pragati from pulmonology.
This is so cool. Very nice. Peace will follow as sunshine flows into the trees. So nice, man. And actually,
Surya, Alva.
nature is not permanent. Sir, optometrist.
This is our hospital.
It's not on the internet. To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow.
House.
I thought as much when I saw that hanging thing.
Next.
The Pramila Kanda, Department of Endocrinology. Wada Sandeep, Urology. Thousand dreams and hopes woven together for a better world. Postgraduate Department of Physiology. Okay. Let's reimagine, recreate, restore our world. Community medicine. Nature's way of singing through spring. Mostly PGs. Their medical oncology is for you. Vijit Kumar Shukla, biochemistry. Srinivasi. Jain nature is really get treated nicely. Jungle in concrete jungle. That's a big difficult to make out. Oh, Alin, is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Sparsha, beautiful Mother Earth. Really beautiful. Look deep into the nature and you will understand everything better. Part of solution, not a part of pollution. This is so good. So good. Little things often lead to big changes. It's aloe vera, no? New plants actually plants a home. Should be clean up. Lay out a piece of streak lighting the dark. Others.
Photos without the caption.
How many entries were there?
31.
Thankfully, I'm not on the jury. I would have awarded everybody. Very nice. Now, I want all these to be preserved, and I have told Lalita, please develop a collage of this. I'll give you a similar board like how there was for a DRP in the lobby, and we'll put this up as what it was. Huh? It'll be beautiful. We'll make a collage and put it up there.
Judges for the photo caption were Dr. Anantkumar, Shri Ananta Subramania K.
Anant has been helping us with the.
Okay.
So he was with photojournalist for last 20 years.
Okay.
With Bangalore Mirror and the entire press, PNI feeds what we are seeing in Deccan Herald, Times of India, and Bangalore Mirror. He has been contributing the pictures. And very avid photographer, and he is also making short documentaries, movies for the awareness of general education of the population. So we thank him for the help in doing this.
Thank you so much. Very appropriately made that you did. Thank you so much.
Consolation prize goes to
I jungle in a concrete jungle.
Small ants below that there is life. That is what she's making us know.
Is it?
That there are small ants which have made those nests, and it is creating life in them. Awesome.
Eileen gets the
Translation.
congratulations, I think.
Is she there?
No, sure. Second runner-up is goes to Dr. Pradeep, sir.
Pradeep. Neuroecologist.
First runner-up goes to Ms. Rohini Eleman. The winner of the photo competition is
This is really
Ms. Siri,
part of
third
solution.
term BBS, Navamitra College.
She's a photographer. There must be some criteria to judge, right?
The composition, the content, the way they have composed the picture, this has been actually staged. It is not a random thing. So they have taken care to make it for the theme. And we have seen the originality and the way they have sort of like created the picture in terms of exposure and other components of it. And some of them have used their mobile phones. It's not fancy gadgets. Like the DSLRs and the lenses, not very complicated, but the lighting and the exposure and the way they have conveyed the message relevant to the theme is what we have considered.
Not bad, huh? Third terms for the
We should thank you for doing this.
I told you, no? If you want to learn the art of nagging, no, please learn from the yeah. Agree. Last minute, everything was happening.
In a short period, yes, we gave very less time for the students.
Also, we had restricted the pictures to be taken in the last 1 month. 1 month, May 15. If we had made that open, like probably for the next event, we will see that in the previous 1 year or some kind of a thing, or prospectively, we will give time.
You can give. So
Yeah.
there's more thinking.
Thinking into creating, and we'll have it as a constant feature for some of the things, photo caption. Next.
We would like to show my daughter has made one video of my house only, of all the garden in the house. This I would like to show. It takes only 1 minute. In between it came.
Yeah. It has to be shared again.
How old is your daughter?
She's 14 years. Just completed.
You
14
made the video?
That.
Very nicely done video, but created by his wife.
This was done by my wife, daughter. Then.
No video she created.
I don't think so.
When you have this much hesitation to give her the due credit.
So the last competition, it was action plan.
Did you get entries?
Yes.
Oh, really? I thought there were none. We asked them to give an action plan as to how they are going to make their living place like hostel. Co-friendly.
Probably for the
Existing civil structure.
for the benefit of the people who are online and the thing, if you can just say, because that was a very innovative idea which Madam came out for, the students to get involved in the process of owning up the responsibility for their ecosystem and the environment. So a couple of lines, ma'am, what you had in mind.
Need to say or yeah, this was the idea which we mooted out. Eco-friendly. There's a thought process there. They're going to organize the team. There'll be a lot of give and take because when they do it, I was just quoting as if by definition of democracy, how it is. It's by them, for them. What did I say? Third one?
Through them.
Of
Them.
them. So all the things they are doing, so they might be able to sustain, was our guesswork. So we thought, let's try this out, and if we succeed, it's going to be a wonderful student activity. So that's how the idea originated. And I was really thinking, till when you said that no entries were there, I was saying finally I will have to shut down our own plan. But we are going to do it. But we are lucky that we got some entries. Very good.
Judges were Dr. Hemant sir, Minister Administration, Girish Chandra, Professor HOD Forensic Medicine Department. The winner of this competition was Miss Real Sarah Paul.
From
Yeah, congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir.
And I just once again, I'd like to thank all the participants and a big round of applause for all the participants. The participants itself know that it concerns the environment also. And also thank all the judges for giving the time to evaluate all the students. Thank you. Thank you all.
Excellent work by all the participants. Thank you all for taking the time, taking part in this competition. So now we've come to the end of the program. All good things need to come to an end though. So I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Lalita to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Priya. As we close the curtains, I think the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. Let's not do that. On this occasion of World Environment Day, we Ramayana, let us pledge to make this world a better, greener and healthier place, not only for us, but for the generations to come. Before I personally start to thank, I request one video to be played out. I thank the management, our chief executive, CFO and HR who could not make it, but they joined for a brief period online. Thanks for all their support. Dr. Veda Rao. So thank the whole garden that we see in front of our institute, of our campus, and also the area is beautified by our nurturing and our care what she has taken. Efforts. And ma'am, thank you very much. That is the special tribute for you. And we thank you, and you have inspired so many of us to nurture the plant and make our lives better. Thank you very much. And it's because of her kindness and big heart. She said the prize and money she announced was 4,000 for the first prize.
Prize money is 4,000.
4,000. So, thank you for that.
Same for the photographs.
And she's also, this is the special gift from our end, ma'am. The ivy plant. Really nice. It's a small one, but with all love.
No, size never matters. It's absolute.
I should, thank you, ma'am.
Please ಕೊಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ. It will be quicker.
And Madam has been kind enough also to say that it will not just stay in front of the campus or in the area. This will, this fragrance will spread across even to the other departments as a token of their efforts. I think all of us, all of our colleagues have toiled during the COVID times, and as a small gesture, we are going to give 2 plants per department to be nurtured, and all departments across the medical college and hospital will be getting. And now we know we have been displaced because of COVID. As the department set their office in space, right? We will see to that they get 2 plants per department.
It will be delivered to their departments.
Giving them small plants potted so that they nurture it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for all the support and encouragement for conducting this World Environment Day. I think this was one of the memorable days, at least for me.
How did you like it, Dr. Vishnu? You liked it? You enjoyed? We all enjoyed.
I thank our Vice Principal, Dr. Shalini Nui, who is now going to take forward the Eco Club with all energy and enthusiasm with the new members joined our team. Ma'am, thank you for all the support. And we thank Dr. Gurudev sir and Dr. Arish sir also who joined us for this program. Thank you very much. And we have our registrars who silently support us in all our endeavors, Dr. Pratap sir and Dr. Hemant. Thank you very much. And our eminent speakers who were there on this occasion and who shared their experience and their words of wisdom, which was very valuable. Dr. Agotam Rao sir, thank you very much. Dr. Shibu sir, thank you very much. And Dr. Vishal Mehta, who could record and send because he was not able to join early morning. Thank you, Dr. Vishal Mehta. I thank Ella Preddy, who has been the guest of honor, environmentalist, and who has been mentor for our department. And we are on with you to whatever little we can support. We are with, will join hands with you. Thank you very much. And I thank all the heads of the institution, other department heads and faculty who have joined on this program online, and all the Eco Club members, both faculty, students, and interns who have come together and started their activity. And I wish you all the best and look forward that you take your activities to further heights. And I thank all the judges who have evaluated all our competition in a very short period of time and given us encouragement for the students to take it forward. Thank you all of you. And I sincerely thank my entire department, all the staffs, PGs, MSWs, and non-teaching staff and interns over there who supported in conducting this program. We in fact realized it was June. We forgot, and in fact, in the midst of the COVID, then we realized it's June. We had to celebrate World Environment Day, and in short time, we all geared up to do this. And I thank each one of you and Shivraj sir and Nandakumar for coordinating this program. Thank you all, and Mr. Ravi for all your technical support, and corporate communication, Dr. Anant and Mr. Anant and his team. So on this environment, we pledge to make this a better living and go forward and Sarve Jana Sukhiya Bhavantu. Thank you.
National anthem.
Thank you so much. So we have come to the end of very wonderful program. Very important announcement to make. All the winners of the competitions When you're back in campus, you can personally please come to the community medicine department to collect your cash prizes and certificates, all the participants as well. So thank you. The faculties, if any of you are online, please do, you can drop into the department anytime to collect the prizes. Or should we send?
We'll see, we'll see.
As a token of
Being a
gratitude, please hand over the Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Can I kindly request all the audience, both online and offline, to kindly stand for the national anthem? No. All participants in person are kindly requested to join for. Join online.
Steps will take.
Yeah, what steps will